Hey everybody, hope you're enjoying the Steve Bays episode. This is now part 2, so if you haven't heard part 1, please go back and listen. I'd hate for you to miss out on the full Bays experience. All right? Is that it? That's good enough, right? Okay, this is part 2, Steve Bays, Postcard and Podcast, blah, blah, blah.
Like, there's a lot of people that got rich on YouTube, and then just the hate was too much, so they just had to give up their like millions of dollars. It's insane.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I've never experienced anything that much. I did have one music video that went kind of viral around the Philippines because I used to travel there a lot.
Nice.
And I did a song where I sang a bit in Filipino, so it went kind of viral. And then, yeah, there was a bit of hate on there. But I just find it funny. Like, I don't really get offended by it. Like, one guy wrote that I look like a very poor musician, and I just wrote back like, yep, true. I'm fucking poor. Like,
yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah, the only time it stings is if it's like currently one of your insecurities that you haven't yet conquered, you know?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in that camp. James is the strength for both of us. Those broad shoulders.
I appreciate that.
I'm telling you, there are many people that have been burned so many times by hunks that they'll look at James and be like, nope, not even gonna chance it. And then they'll look at your modesty from that comment and be like, I want to settle down with that guy.
Damn
Seriously.
All the feedback I've been getting so far about Geordie is that he's adorable, lovable, you know, like, yeah. And I'm the asshole, so.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. You're not an asshole at all, but you are living in Geordie's shadow.
Because I'm fat?
Oh.
Come on, man.
I'm so glad you said that, because I didn't want to.
You're recording, right? Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, it's like if you're standing next to a teddy bear, you're going to look pretty spiky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
And if it's a teddy bear that drinks a 2.6 of vodka every day, you're going to seem that much more square.
That's a fun teddy bear.
Yeah.
Kind of like Ted, you know?
Like
he's an asshole, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I tried.
You could probably give a TED talk on how to deal with the cops in Mission.
Yeah. I'll just tell them you're going into the recording studio the next day, and they're like, "Oh, what? Sweet, that's cool."
Yeah.
And
Maybe
wear a tuxedo every day.
Yeah, don't drive drunk, but if you're gonna drive drunk, do it in a tux.
Yes.
Words of the wise. Yeah.
By the way, I do not endorse drunk driving. This was a mistake.
Well, nobody does.
And disclaimer.
Okay.
You know, wear a helmet, kids.
Okay. It's good.
That kind of thing.
So if you're gonna drive drunk, wear a helmet.
Okay.
And a tuxedo.
And then tell everyone else on the road to wear a helmet too, because
And don't drink and drive because you might hit a bump and spill your drink.
That's a good one.
I remember seeing a bumper sticker or something that said that when I was like 8. I was like, that is so cool.
Right.
Back when you could get away with it.
Yeah. The good old days.
The good old days.
Back when you could kill people and it was chill.
Yeah.
I do.
Seatbelts. No.
I do miss that.
Killing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the name of.
You didn't do what they told you. Did you?
I did not do what they told me. No, screw you. I won't do what you are telling me to do.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hello.
Good shit. Well, we're gonna go back to what's Steve Bays.
Yeah, man.
We can
stuff.
We can talk about anything as long as I don't have to whip out my genitals. I'm pretty much everything else is fair game.
Okay, I guess we'll have to cancel the last segment then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually do that.
Give a pen, I can scratch that.
Yeah, just make a mental
Side note, I love that you have a tiny pillow right there. I keep wondering, like, what's that pillow for? It's so tiny.
He's got a bad knee. I thought he might want to.
I think about.
Oh, is that really?
He does.
About smothering James every now and again.
Okay,
So.
now James is competing for Sweetie Pie.
I always think of every
Sweetie Pie
angle,
boat.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very thoughtful of you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Did you hurt your knee because you fell drunk?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
snowboarding.
Oh, no way.
Skateboarding.
Is that what they call cocaine now?
I
don't know.
18 broken bones later from all that cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good times.
Yeah. Yeah, you took a bad spill, right? You jumped over a road or something? Is that right?
I cleared a road, but then I landed on the other side and it broke my snowboard in half. And then I bent down so far that my head hit my snowboard and it knocked me out.
Whoa.
So that was a thing.
And then...
Yeah. And I shit myself.
Oh. No way.
Yep. Oh. I hit the ground so hard that my snowboard was in half. Like,
what?
And we were way out of bounds. So I had to hike out of there with a fucking shattered knee and like shit everywhere.
So this opens up
great podcast.
There's a lot to unpack here. So when you shit yourself, was it solid? Was it like a tiny bit?
No, sir. We had
McDonald's
for breakfast. Never do that when you're going snowboarding.
In case you shit yourself. Okay.
Oh my God.
What is happening?
You are an overshare.
Am I turning red? Oh my God.
But no, sorry. So just because I think about this concept a lot, specifically you shitting yourself.
Oh really? Dang.
Well, in the last hour I have been.
Yeah, it's even though this just came news to you 5 minutes ago. Yeah,
round it up. It's fine.
Yeah. So did you just throw out your pants after, or did you wash them? Or?
I was my buddy drove me to the hospital, so I don't really remember a lot after that. They shot me full of Demerol because I was whining pretty good. So
Demerol, I broke my ankle skateboarding, and they did the same. And I had never had an opiate at that point, and I was just like, I went from screaming to apparently I just looked at my buddy and I went, "Let's party." It's like so cheesy, but
I think I said something like,
yeah,
it was something like that. Yeah.
Well, let's get this guy some Demerol. Am I right?
Yeah. Can we get that legally? Yeah. Just
it's weird. I've never heard anyone ever say like, "I got some Demerol." You know what I mean? Like, why is that not being sold on?
That's probably the best feeling in the world.
Yeah,
but I mean, opposed to being in severe pain. That So I can't. Is it really that good? I don't know. You know,
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know.
Look into it.
I really don't know.
It's kind of like, anyway.
Yeah. This is getting derailed here. Sorry.
So you shit your pants.
Yeah, let's get back to that. I didn't know this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is good to hear.
Yeah. Can't wait for my mother to hear this. No.
Just don't send her the link.
Is she a fan?
Not yet.
Of you?
Nothing's. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Some people.
Yeah, she'll be okay with it. Just don't send her the link.
I love my mama. She's very special.
I used to be so fearful of saying things that would upset my mom, and I still am, but at a certain point, at one point she said, you could do these interviews without cursing like a sailor.
Yeah. I've been told that.
Yeah, and then but she seemed to still love me the same amount after that. So by her sort of acknowledging that, she accidentally kind of gave me license to say certain words like shit. Like piss, like shitting pants, like pissing your pants.
That's fine. Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, no F-bombs though.
No, she's fine with fart jokes. I just find that it's the shitting and pissing that I was worried about. Like
that was funny. That was clever. Did you get that, Chase?
Oh yeah, we got that. Just make sure.
Oh wait, we're recording. We've been recording.
Oh yes, it's all there.
Balls.
Yeah. That's just going viral.
Anyway, my work ethic is. I pride myself on it.
You look like you work out. Is it?
I take pre-workout and then I don't work out.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been doing that for about 10 years straight.
Sweet.
And they tell you like don't take pre-workout like for too many days in a row. Like I think they say 15 days in a row. I've been taking it for like 3,000 days in a row.
Oh wow! That's
And even though I don't work out after it, I do find that if I take it before I'm doing something, that it tends to work out pretty good. So it's pre-workouts because
so it does work out.
Yeah, things tend to work out. Yeah. So
well, doesn't it just get your metabolism going really fast and stuff? Like,
I don't know. I don't know what's in these things. It's kind of like the Wild West with legal nootropics and there's a story. If we weren't just talking about our moms listening to this, I would love to dive into this, but I'm just like, I feel like maybe she wouldn't quite understand it.
I feel you. That's great.
That's cool.
I find with coffee, like, it's like you feel amazing for a few minutes and you're like ready to conquer the world.
Yeah.
And then if you watch like one funny TikTok or something, then you're like, I'm sitting down. And then you just kind of like, you just pretty quickly slip into just like the same, like kind of lazy vibe. Mm-hmm. Whereas pre-workout, it's got all sorts of stuff in it. I don't even know. But it's a slower release. Like you'll drink it and then.
You're serious? You take this stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Dead serious.
No, that's awesome.
Well, even when we were doing Hot at Heats Make Up the Breakdown with Jack and Dino, and I can't remember what he said, but he said something like, "Oh, you want this? Blah blah blah." It's like you should take L-tyrosine. So I was like, "What's L-tyrosine?" So it's just like some sort of amino or something.
Okay.
And it's just a vitamin. And so we went and we got L-tyrosine, and I swear we were just jacked on L-tyrosine. We were like, L-tyrosine, get me. She's like, are you getting a beer? Can you get me an L-tyrosine? We were just slamming them. And then I totally forgot about it. And then I noticed that pre-workout, a lot of them have L-tyrosine in it.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
And then there's other things that they put in it, like because it gives you focus. It gives you like your body has more energy, but it's more like your brain does. And I'm just always looking to get like, how can I get that edge on like Kanye West? You know what I mean? Like, how can I just take what he's doing and do it just a little bit,
just a little bit more,
step it up,
drink it up a little,
He's really into nitrous. Apparently, that's I just found this out. He's addicted, like heavily been addicted to laughing gas.
Wow.
And that's why he kind of has been hanging out with Donald Trump and stuff like that.
Interesting. Wow, I had no idea.
Wow.
Well, I guess whatever works for you.
Yeah. I don't know. I found that like before I got diagnosed as having ADHD and I got medicated, I was always attracted to like legal stimulants, like essentially just like coffee. Like I lived by coffee, like lived by energy drinks and stuff. Although like I thought the look of energy drinks was pretty whack. Like I wouldn't want like you type my name and like the first photo comes up, I'm holding like that like Monster. Spray paint can of Monster.
Yeah.
What's up? So I kind of kept it on the DL, but I think my brain knew I needed, because ADHD there's basically a lack of dopamine, and your frontal cortex is understimulated, and your brain is always telling you like something's wrong because you're missing something.
Yeah.
And so that's why when somebody talks to you, you find yourself kind of wandering, thinking about all these different things because your brain is looking for that sort of even.
Right.
It wants to be, at par. It wants to just feel like, okay, I'm even now.
Homeostasis, like
homeostasis. Yeah,
that's a great word.
And then, so I remember the one of the first times, within like the first week I was medicated. I remember some friends came over, And I just found myself actually just genuinely listening to the conversation. Like we were having a conversation and I wasn't kind of like darting around in my brain. I could just hear what they said and process it.
Yeah.
And give like a more thoughtful response back.
Right.
And then I did this thing in like the Yukon it was a West Coast Music Awards kind of thing. Breakout West, I think it was called. I was in the Yukon and I was part of a panel of just like, it was like a Q&A thing. Mm-hmm. And I just remember thinking, man, I'm so chill to just sit here and listen to everyone else, do their Q&A thing. And when it comes to me, like I can give a lucid answer. And whereas I spent my whole life feeling like, I'm weird. Mm-hmm. What, like, how do I prove I'm not weird? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so yeah, stimulants, which is most ADHD meds, if not all, are stimulants. But it actually calms someone with ADHD down because your brain isn't going, oh, something's wrong. Like your brain just feels like, oh, I'm fine just to exist. Like this is totally normal.
Right.
And so then you can actually listen and think about things. And
that's so interesting, man. It makes me think a lot about my own journey.
Yeah. You know what? Your journey is so hot.
I don't know why this came out.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I've heard anything from 1 in 10 to 1 in 20 people have ADHD. And so it's the easiest thing to like mental issue to fix because medication does so much. But also I think even just admitting that you have it and like kind of observing your own behavior and trying to like hold yourself a bit more accountable and stuff like that. Like it's the easiest thing to quote unquote fix.
Manage.
Yeah. And yet it's like the least diagnosed thing. Like we always think about how it's like, oh, it feels like everyone and their dog has ADHD. It's like, well, there still isn't enough people that have been diagnosed because it's so common. Yeah. But it's just in the ADHD world, it's just known as a fact that it's very underdiagnosed.
Right.
And so anytime someone says to me like, maybe I have it. I'm like, if you're creative, if you have like a history of making kind of like quick decisions on like buying random shit or taking any sort of booze or drugs when you like know it's not in your best interest, like it's just like irrational quick decisions, then you should look into it. You know what I mean? And then when you meet someone, like you can tell when someone clearly does not have it. And then eventually you start, once you know what you're looking for, you can tell like, oh yeah, this person has ADHD.
I wouldn't have thought you had it. Like,
oh, interesting.
I work with a lot of people with disabilities and like, it's, it's cool.
Like
cool.
What did you think I have? Like, don't say sexual dysfunction.
Nothing. Nothing. You're just fine.
Well, see, this is what I'm talking about. When you're hanging out with people that are like, you're fine, just how you are. It's the best.
Yeah. Dude, you're so chill.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Well,
I was half expecting Axl Rose.
I think
like, I'm not going to go well here. Like, this isn't.
I think you're going to be the best man at my wedding.
Beer.
Oh, shit. There you go.
My gal and I have been we're talking about, because we're going to Mexico with her family soon, and we're kind of like, should we just get married there? Like, we want to be married. I call her my wife, but we just don't want to like go through the whole thing. Like, give us attention,
Right. Yeah.
No offense. I mean, I get why people do it, but
Eloping is an option.
Yeah.
I had a buddy, I didn't even know he was married. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
what? Oh, yeah, I got 3 kids now, too.
Yeah.
I just saw you yesterday. Like, what happened to me?
I've been hanging out with you for years. You haven't mentioned your kids once.
Oh, well, here's little Bobby.
Yeah. This is him with his foster parents.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't live here. Anyway, sorry, that was weird. It's good. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I never wanted to get married, actually. I just did because that's what my ex wanted, and that's what I felt I should do because being in a religious family and all that. So
exactly.
Was you were in the religious or she was?
Both of us, yeah. Okay. I was actually heavy into it. Like I wanted to be a youth pastor.
Oh,
that was my big thing. Yeah.
Wicked.
So I started playing music on like church worship teams and stuff, and then I was I was going to all the churches around the area, like Mission and Abbotsford.
So you were a bit of a religious slut?
Oh, I was. Yeah, I was just whoring my spirit out.
Great way to say it.
Yeah, that is a great way.
Spirit slut. Yeah, that should be your new album.
Spirit. Oh, dude, that is
Spirit slut.
Joey doesn't like it. He's censoring me.
Okay.
Nope.
No, I have a very.
But
oh man, one of my favorite. Like I went to youth group and there was a youth pastor, this guy Brad, and he, even though we all made fun of him because you knew that you could and you wanted to flex that muscle. We all just thought he was like the coolest. And, but we didn't ever tell him. And I wish if I knew where he was, I would love to be like, I hope you know, like, we roasted you, but we thought you were like awesome.
Sweet. Yeah.
Turns out he's probably committed suicide now because of all the trolling. But I hope not. Because he was super cool.
Well, let's hope not. And
who knows, though? Yeah.
So you played Coachella. That's interesting.
So good to have you
here.
No.
Well, I've had a few. I got a couple Coachella stories. I'll just be super quick. One was that because growing up, I was like when I was in the punk scene and the hardcore scene, it was like really in vogue to be straight edge. You know what I mean? And that was like a big straight edge hardcore was a big thing. And like the band Minor Threat were kind of considered like the gods. They were like the OG. Like they were like the Jesus to carpentry is like Minor Threat to straight edge kind of thing. And then so the singer Ian MacKaye, he went on to form Fugazi, who like informed so many creative decisions of mine. And so he was like a hero of mine growing up. And then, but my thing was I had it in my head that I would lose my voice if I didn't have a shot or two of Jaeger before every set.
Okay.
Because when I wouldn't take Jaeger, I had lost my voice. So I just had in my head that it like coats my throat or it relaxes the muscles or something.
Yeah.
And then anyway, so we're about to go on at Coachella and I hadn't had Jaeger, but there was just so many moving parts. So I was like, oh, whatever. And then Tony Hawk comes up and he's like stoked to watch your set. I'm like, oh God. And he basically was positioned side stage. He's like, oh God, Tony Hawk's here. All good. And like, I literally broke up with a long-term girlfriend just so that I could have more time to spend playing Tony Hawk. So I was like a big
dude, I love that game.
Tony Hawk guy.
Yeah.
And then but then this woman comes up to me, she's like, oh, if you do want that Jaeger, like I can get it for you if you come with me. So I'm like, okay. And then I follow her and then she's like, you just have to get on this golf cart. I'm like, oh, we're about to play. And then she's like, well, I'll just take you to where the Jaeger is or whatever, the tent or whatever. So I get on there and then Ian MacKaye, first Cameron Diaz gets on the cart with me.
Oh.
And I'm like, what?
Cool.
So I'm just sitting with Cameron Diaz, just being like, hey.
Hey, girl.
How you This weather's pretty good. Hey. And I was There's Something About Mary fan. I kind of lost touch after that, but yeah, I just thought she seemed like the perfect human at that point in my life. So I was just so nervous.
Yeah.
And then And then partway as we're cruising along, they stop and Ian Mackay from Minor Threat gets on. And he's sitting right beside me. And I'm like, oh, here, Ian Mackay, how's it going? Oh, good to meet you. I'm a big fan. And then the next stop is they stop at the tent. And then this woman comes up to me and she's like, here's your shots of Jaeger. And I just felt like so bummed that like the OG king of straight edge.
Yeah. Oh man.
It
brutal.
is like beside me. And like I was straight edge for years, but like now I'm not. And now I'm like drinking like the douchiest shot. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
It'd be like if you were sitting beside Dr. Drew and they're like, here's your peach schnapps. Like, no, I was sober for a long time.
The side eye. Yeah. Oh man.
And then when we played our set, this isn't as good of a story, but it was feeding back the whole time. And I kept looking at the crowd like, this is insane. Like, it's so fucked that there's like all this constant feedback.
Yeah.
But turns out nobody in the audience heard the feedback. It was just in the monitors.
Oh.
And it was just in my monitor. So I just spent the whole time like looking at the crowd being like, this is freaking awful. You know what I mean? And nobody understood why I was like, kept like seemed so bummed. And then I talked to our sound guy at the time who had been recommended by our kind of buddy / tour manager, and he was like, yeah, you should get my buddy to do sound. So I'm like, okay. And then he was like, oh man, it was crazy. Like I took like an 1/8 of shrooms and like right as you guys went on, they kicked in so hard. And he was like bragging to me about it. I'm like, what? That's like, I'm not impressed.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The sound was horrible. It ruined the show.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
That's brutal.
Yeah. And then I remember leaving Coachella at some point, and it's like it was like after the festival, or maybe it was a different festival. I can't remember. I just remember leaving, and it was like everyone had sort of cleared out. It was the end of the day. Like the field was just littered with garbage. And like just a huge empty field with tons of garbage. But I walked by one guy that was like in this empty garbage riddled field. And there was one guy lying on the ground face down, like just completely, not his face to the side. He was just face down. I've never seen someone lying just with their face completely like
Straight down.
180, boom, just hands by his side, just face down. I don't know. I just was.
Did you kick him or something? Like,
I just was kind of. I assumed like, okay, a music festival, I guess, because I'm not a music festival fan. I like playing them, but I don't like attending them.
okay.
So I was like, I guess this is what people do. They take drugs, and those drugs decide when they wake up, not them. You know.
Oh my goodness.
Shit. Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Crazy. Yeah. Wow. So Coachella.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
What's the funnest show you ever played?
the most fun?
Yeah.
You mean?
I'm sorry.
Just kidding. That's what my mom would do.
No, you're absolutely.
And I'm
right.
glad she did that.
I do that
because
to James all the time.
to this day, I've got the wicked best grammar. So
The wicked best grammar. Yeah.
She would always seek or suck. Is it? She
Yeah,
would
it sucked. Yeah.
She would suck great tips on spelling grammar for me.
Oh my god.
That's what she brought to the
Wow.
table.
I'm so uncomfortable. Oh,
That's
dear.
good.
But the funnest. I don't even
Conan
know.
O'Brien?
Oh, I was gonna
No.
talk about that.
The first time we did Conan 3 times, and the first time, I had like an hour of sleep because I stupidly went out after after our show in Buffalo, and then we had to fly super early in the morning. And I just remember, like these. So basically, we played in Buffalo, and then these people were like, "Come to this party." So I went. was like, thought it was going to be an awesome party. And I was still in the stage of life where I'm like, hey, never say no. Like, you never know. Like, could be the best time of your life. Yeah. So I get in to this Honda Prelude red, probably an 87, with these two girls. One is super sketchy and one is just super like quiet and kind of like, I can't like, she's just also sketchy. But I'm assuming we're going to this party. I assume like it's like 5-10 minutes away. Turns out it was like an hour away.
Oh shit.
And then we get there and it's like in this kind of gated condo development or something. And so we're walking by all these townhomes and condos that are, everyone's asleep, all the lights are off, and we're like whispering, like walking through this development. We get into their place, zero furniture. They had just signed the lease on this place, so it was just an empty apartment. There was no booze or anything. And so by this point, like I'm already stressing about like, oh, we gotta wake up early and do Conan tomorrow. But it's like we just drove an hour here, and then like whatever booze I had worn off. Yeah. And I was just like, I just hung out with them for a bit. And I won't go over like the rest of it, but basically, long story short, I end up finally getting back. So like it was like not a party; it was just awful. They just were like, oh, like there's something of value to us if we convince him to come to our empty condo. So I convinced them to like drive me back eventually. And I get into the hotel room and the sun is already up. I sleep for like an hour. I like hang my shirt up that I wanted to wear on Conan, like as if it's gonna somehow like unwrinkle in an hour. And then I just remember like an hour later, it's like all the other guys are like up, like they got a great sleep and they're just super cheerful and excited about the day. And I'm just so bummed out and like feel like absolute garbage. And then I just remember like walking to our van or whatever that was going to take us to the airport. And the guys are just dragging their luggage and they're so happy and making jokes. And I just am kicking myself for making a stupid decision. And then I see like this like super sketchy chick. She's still sleeping in her Prelude. She like dropped me off at the hotel and she's just like mouth open, like makeup smear, just like. And I'm like, okay, she gets to just feel like shit all day, and now I have to go do like what at the time was like the biggest thing I had ever done.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But it turned out fine. It was fine. I just remember, yeah. But like when you're young, it's like you never really look that bad. You know what I mean? Mm. Whereas at this, like you guys are seeing me right now, best case scenario, but like you catch me waking up from an hour's sleep 24 hours from now.
Right.
I look like I'm 68. Like,
yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Wow.
You know, when you get up to like go pee in the middle of the night and just like, you just glance at yourself in the mirror and you go, God, I look like shit.
What gets me now too is like I'll pee and I'll think I'm done, but no, I'm not. It just keeps draining and I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
And then you realize that you also shit your pants. And you wake up in a hospital.
No, that's me. That's not James.
I've shit my pants. I think when was the last time I shit my pants? Well, it was quite recent. I think it was within the last few years, anyways.
James is a huge Conan fan, by the way.
Yeah,
sorry, not to
just to segue.
You're kind of jumping the shark here. So go. You shat your pants.
Yeah, I shat my pants.
Adults.
It was Oh yeah.
What was the?
I'm trying to think of the exact time.
Spill the tea.
I don't know if it was just a shart, like I went to fart.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember these. I mean, it's happened many times, over the years. But
yeah, I mean, a shart, I guess you're forgiven for once. But
actual shit, I do know there was a time when I lived here anyway, where I was running to get into my apartment, and so I did let it go. But I don't know exactly how.
Yeah.
Right? But the last time I peed the bed, I remember this clearly because I was married.
Yeah.
And I was about 27, I think. And the best part is I wasn't drinking the night before. I just
Really?
Yeah, I woke up, but I was kind of in that half awake kind of dream state. And
You were dreaming that you were peeing?
Yeah, like essentially, like I dreamt, I guess, that I went to the bathroom or something.
I remember that as well. That dream.
Yeah.
Like the last time I peed the bed, I can't even remember when it was, but I still remember the dream.
Yeah.
Like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And for the ladies listening at home, this is like I was still super young, so it's not recent.
Me too. I was like 27.
Yeah, I was like super young. But I just remember, I remember in my dream being like, oh, I'm just like letting go of all muscles in my body. And I just remember being like, why don't I always, like, why am I living my life just like
so clenched
all the time? This is like, I should be like this loose all the time.
And then you go from that euphoria to the realization, the horrific realization.
See, my thing was weird. So, like, the reason I say I was half awake was because, like, I was there for the start of the pee. Like, it wasn't like I woke up mid-pee.
Yeah.
It was like as soon as I started peeing, I was like, oh, shit, I'm peeing the bed right now. But at that point, what do? You just finish peeing the bed.
Yeah. If you're going to clean up piss, like, you don't want to tack onto it still having to go pee in your list of, like, crappy.
That's just torturous.
I mean, I don't know if I can pinch it off for that long to get to the bathroom. But the best part of that story, because I am divorced now, but I was married at the time.
Yeah.
So it was a work day. So I wake up as I'm peeing the bed. I'm like, okay. So I get up, I have a shower, I put my clothes in the laundry, and my ex-wife's up, making my lunch for me. Oh. And I didn't say anything, but then
a bit of a clue why you're divorced, but
yeah, exactly. But then I get to the door, and right before I leave for work, I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, I peed the bed, and then I just left for work.
Oh wow,
yeah. So, yeah,
man, that's at least like with Geordie's like future wife, he'll be like getting up to go to work. She'll be like, Geordie, where's all the vodka? And you'd be like, drank it. I'm taking off. I gotta go to work. By the way, I shit the bed.
Yeah, man. Oh, I have a good future ahead of me.
I think you do. I feel like this podcast will lead to your future wife.
Hey,
think so? Yeah.
And future divorce, unfortunately, but but there will be a complicated period.
Been there, done that too. So, yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So all three of us have been divorced.
Wow, yeah,
that's great. There
you go.
Yeah. I've gone to a lot of therapy.
Yeah,
just because guilt is a huge thing in my life that's ever present, and
it's the Spanish fly of Christians.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but yeah, you're cool and I'm not, so I get it. You can just say whatever you want, and that's fine. Oh, I'm famous. I can say whatever
I gotta exploit this.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just being an ass.
Give me cash.
Exploit it.
Yeah, man.
I think you're super cool, personally.
Well, thanks.
I get your friendship. Like, I'm like, oh, if I had a James and Geordie in my life, I would be hanging out with them too.
Wow, that's very nice of you to say.
Yeah, very nice. So what are you doing tomorrow? No, I'm just
kidding. About that.
I'll swing by around 9. That's okay.
But okay, keep things rolling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a quick front dump, as I call it.
Yeah, I might do the same right after you, so I might actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, damn it. Okay.
Hey guys, we're outside the penny here again, doing another ad. Look who's back! Geordie's back with us today. Guess he grew a pair. Wow, look at this place, dude. This is so cool in here. Dude, they got like cool lights and stuff. You have a look at the merch, Geordie. I love this place. Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, how are you?
Pretty good. I was just on my way to afternoon tea, and then I heard about you guys on a podcast. The Poets Garden podcast. You ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool podcast from Mission. They feature like singer-songwriters and stuff. Never heard of it?
No.
Okay, cool.
But you are the second person to come here talking about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
All right, take care. You too. Okay, man, we got it. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Dude, we gotta go. I think they're on to us. Yeah, that's a gluten-free brownie from the Penny Coffee Shop here in Mission, and they officially sponsor us. Sponsor us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
one day
there'll be a disclaimer at the end of the episode saying that they actually have no idea, just so I don't get sued and shit. You know.
I once got a forced sponsorship going too.
Oh yeah.
Do you know the flight cases SKB? Have you seen those? It's like, you know, like Pelican flight cases.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's like another brand called SKB.
Yeah.
And they make just lightweight road cases. And at one point we had the thick ones, but then you have to pay a lot to fly with heavy stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted lighter flight cases. So I went to their website to see what the options were. And there was a photo of me playing live, like at a keyboard, like rocking out. And I was like, what? This is insane. Like, I was honored, but I was like, I'm honored, but I still got to manipulate this somehow. So,
Yeah.
So I hit them up and was like, I didn't give you permission. Give me a free flight case. So I got a free flight case and I still have it.
Hell yeah.
And I'm a big fan of flight cases in general.
Yeah.
But I just discovered yesterday that if you order a flight case and it's for music purposes, it's top tier expense. But if you look for a gun case, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It still has the foam, still has like the hard plastic and the handle and the snaps and all that stuff. But it's way cheaper because I needed one for this kind of portable studio rig I've been carting around.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just going to order a gun case instead of a musician's flight case.
I had no idea. Before we were talking about you playing on the Conan Obrien show, and I was just wondering, would I be allowed to ask you a question about that? Like,
no, I'm out.
no, oh shit, fuck Geordie, I told you.
How was I supposed to know?
Lordy.
Well, actually, for me, because like, kind of my mentor is Mr. Conan O'Brien, especially with this whole podcast thing.
I'm obsessed with Conan.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Massively.
And two, one of the big reasons for that was I listened to the Billy Corgan episode, and like I didn't like Smashing Pumpkins, but then after listening to that, like, and hearing just the way he talked and like how smart he was, like it gave me a new appreciation for his art, right? So that was kind of the idea of this, was like bring on people and get to know them in, you know, and then kind of hope that helps people appreciate their art too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that.
So I was just curious, you know, like if you got to meet him or, you know, talk to him. Like I know you did the handshake thing after.
I've met Billy Corgan.
Oh, you did? Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we played some shows with Smashing Pumpkins in Australia.
Wow. Yeah.
And then on the last day of the tour, his handler came up to me and was like, Billy would like to see you. And I was like, oh my gosh. He said something to the effect of all the bands from the period, like when you guys came out, you guys are like the only band that I don't think is full of shit. I was like, whoa,
wow,
that's so cool. But
very cool.
I don't really remember the rest of the conversation because it was after our last show of the entire tour. So I was already in like, tour's done, like celebrate mode. And,
okay. Yeah.
so I remember that moment, but I don't even remember how we parted ways or anything. It's kind of sad, but.
But what about meeting Conan?
Conan, I didn't really hang with.
Oh, okay.
I really wish I could have. Because I relate a lot more to Conan's vibe than Billy Corgan's, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I love like Conan's man on the street stuff, you know. Like his, you know, when he like grills his interns and and his like. His like
Schlansky.
His Jordan Schlansky stuff is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I love
so
it.
Good.
Yeah,
and like Clueless Gamer, phenomenal.
Yeah,
and he does it. Sorry, I don't know why I'm eating this.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm slamming it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Do it for the penny.
Down for the penny.
Eat it for the penny.
That should be your pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Set in stone.
Just Geordie singing.
Seeked for the penny. No, sucked for the penny. No.
Oh, no.
Never mind.
Um,
Ruining it.
I'm assuming you have a vacuum.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it at all. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good.
There's a reason why it's a noisy rug and you didn't go all white.
Yeah. Yeah, and before this podcast, I didn't really clean in here that often, so yeah.
I just realized like I haven't really eaten today, so
Oh yeah, go
Get
for
it in you.
We also have a fruit platter and a little snack platter in the fridge too, if you feel.
Oh my god, you're insane.
And lots of chocolate and shit too. So yeah,
Oh my god.
got everything.
Some Filipino candies over there too.
There is some Filipino candies.
You guys are psychopaths.
I know.
It's just him.
I like Conan's whole. I can relate to his brain. I feel like because he took the money and stuff he made from his show when it was at its most mainstream level, and just reinvested in building a sustainable version of it where he wouldn't need corporate networks and stuff necessarily
Yeah.
to keep doing what he loves. Like he's not doing it for the money. He's actually spending all his money to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And like I feel like every dollar I make, I'm kind of reinvesting it into some variation of keeping creativity sustainable in my life,
Right. Yeah.
So no matter how much money I've come into, it's always just goes right back into the pool that allows me to be able to, just take on whatever gig I want to, whether it's a good money one or like a no money one or whatever. I can be that passionate guy. I'm still living, like in a manner that's maybe not as comfortable as I would like in order to do that, because I'm like addicted to buying gear.
Yeah.
But in the long run, I feel like it's worth it because I feel like I'll be able to keep creating and producing, stuff till I die, hopefully.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Which is like just under a year. So.
Oh, specific.
Yeah. Well, it's like, all right, like you got to die everyone dies at 47, right?
Oh,
Right.
47 club.
Well, that's it's really cool too when I went to stevebays.com, which everybody should who's listening. And then I saw that vast array of lengths you have, like the videos that you've produced and directed and all that too. Like the whale stuff. Oh, is it the Banks brothers, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you've got your hand in so many different cookie jars, you know what I mean? Like that's
Nookie jars, but
nookie jars. Sorry. My bad. Yeah.
Say it right.
But I mean, that's great for like sustainability as well too, right? Like that you can do all these different things.
I think I like the idea of I love being challenged, and I love just learning something new all the time. And there was after being sort of in a band for 17 years, and it's kind of like a popularity contest, and there's so many variables beyond your control. And I've always sort of craved that a component of earning a living that's very A plus B equals C. So you do this, you get this much money, and you can sort of plan around having at least that much money. Whereas when you're in a band, it's kind of like you can spend years on something just to see if it's going to be beneficial to your life, Right, and that sort of breeds anxiety over time. Is just like as you get older, you start kind of thinking about it. Because when you're younger, the glory of, oh my God, people are coming to our shows, like people are cheering for me, like it kind of gets you drunk, like you're just like, I'll sign any contract, I'll give up spending time with like my loved ones and friends and families for years on end. Like I'm just like, you get drunk on the momentum and the excitement, and it is super fun. But then logical stuff starts kicking in at a certain point, and you're like, I would love to be able to like not place all my livelihood on this like popularity contest that essentially kind of rewards youth more than it does, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Being an elder statesman. So
Yeah.
I think it subconsciously, I think I was craving just like a bit more like of a blue collar approach to like, because I think of recording a song for someone or mixing a song for them or whatever it is, or doing a music video for them. It's kind of like somebody being like, hey, can you build us a table? It's like, okay, it'll take this much time. And either I can be like, this is how much it'll cost you, or more so lately, I'll just say, what's your budget? And then I'll tell you what I can do for your budget. So that way, because I always want people to feel like they got the better deal. Like I never want people to feel like we paid too much for him, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So, and the music industry is like less profitable than it's ever been now. So I just kind of say to people like, what is like your ideal, what do you want? A music video or what is it? And like, how much money do you have to play with? Okay. So we can do that in this many days. And then whatever I quote them, I always end up spending way longer on it, unfortunately, but I can't put something out if I know it could be better, like, which is kind of the problem, but
yeah. No, I bet.
It's very noble.
It is. I mean, yeah.
You just want things to be good.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, and at a certain point, you do have to go sometimes, okay, it's good enough, because like often I'll take on something for a band that I'm like friends with or I like, and I start crunching the numbers near the end, like, man, I'm literally with like the cost of living, I'm like paying to work on this for them, you know, essentially at a certain point. So yeah, it's weird. I'm horrible at the talking about money and stuff, and so I usually end up usually get to the point where the artist will be like, okay, we got to sort this out. I know you don't want to talk about it, but like, I'm going to feel bad if I don't give you something. And so somewhere in there, like between like past catalogs that still sort of bring in royalties and then taking on like gig work all the time, I'm able to like live a decent life and then carve out time to work on my own music selfishly, and you know,
right, yeah,
seems to work out okay. I am hoping to, I don't know. You never know, like, because sometimes like you'll do a song and then it just kind of takes off, and then it's like, oh wow, that kind of just put enough wind in my sails or like money in my account to justify like doing, you know, 2 more years of just rabbit holing random ideas.
Right.
You know? Yeah. But if I stop and think about it too much, it's kind of scary. So I try not to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because you're doing this new project now, right? Where it's just Steve Bass solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've kind of started doing another project with a musician friend of mine, Mike Kenyon, and he's got an awesome studio in Vancouver, and he had hired me to produce a couple songs for his old band, but we just kind of became studio nerd buddies, just like talking about like phase correlation and, you know, like how the transient pushes at a certain stage in the wave cycle, and like just like nerdy stuff. And then we're like, we should just like make some rock tunes together. So we've started doing something, and we've kind of flipped between calling it well, right now the name that we're sitting with is Airtight is the name of the project. But the other name is Error Fatale. But I don't know, we'll I'm not sure what the name will be, but
cool.
But yeah, we've just been bashing out some tunes, so that's kind of like a fun, like kind of heavy punk, kind of distorted project. And then my own music is more kind of like Probably more. It's actually probably like the most Hot at Heat-esque kind of stuff I've done post Hot at Heat. Because I'm just I'm not overthinking it. I'm just seeing what falls out of me, and it's like very like quirky synth pop indie. Yeah, kind of. I don't know what you call it. Like, yeah, genres are so hard because now so many bands come out. They're like, it's indie rock. I'm like, no, that is just straight up mainstream pop. Like that. Okay. I get it. It's not cool to call yourself pop, but you're pop. That is not indie. So if I say indie now, I'm like, it's kind of like at a certain point, punk bands had to stop calling themselves punk because like people would be like, oh, Avril Lavigne's punk. Like, no, she's not. It's like, oh, you're anti-authoritarian. Oh, like Sum 41. Well, no.
Right, yeah.
Because all these words get co-opted, and by the time you put out your solo album and you use those words, people just associate it with like, Hot Topic or something.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't even know what genre it is. It's just wicked awesome.
Yeah. No.
Wickedly talented.
How about them apples?
Honestly, I think that's the way it should be too. Yeah. I remember when I entered like the John Lennon songwriting contest or something like that, and I had to list by genre. There's like subgenres, and all of a sudden I'm just so lost. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, like I say folk, because it's mostly acoustic driven and stuff. But yeah, trying to label yourself, I don't know.
It's so funny. Like acoustic music, I find it's like like people put out acoustic songs or folk songs and like. I won't care, and then it just takes like one thing to hook me in, and then I'm like, oh, I'm a fan of this person, and then I want to hear it all.
Right, yeah.
So it's like you almost kind of just need like that little thing that kind of makes you stand out, but that like you don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel on your musical genre. Like there's no reason why you can't just take something as simple as an instrument that's been used a million times on a million songs and still get people's attention.
Yeah.
The way you get it is just a different path than like a band that's, using, I don't know, a sitar and a theremin for the first time over a 5/4 jazz break beat,
Yeah.
Sweet.
Sounds interesting, yeah.
Actually, shit.
You're like, I gotta get home and try this shit out.
Yeah. Side note, I don't know if you're just picking up all double chin over here, but this position just bought me like another while of.
Oh yeah, I can see your face in there.
But yeah, so.
You getting comfy there, Steve?
Oh man, something about.
It's awesome.
Something about caffeine and beer and an empty stomach, and then all of a sudden throwing a brownie on the mix.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Nap time.
Yeah.
It is Sunday.
It's the day of rest.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's Shabbat.
Shabbat, yeah.
Or no.
Well, we're
My
around.
roommate always says that to me. I'm like, are you Jewish? She's like, no. Stop
like
saying it to me.
I mean, I'm not a Jew. Well, I mean, I'm Jewish, but
it's a fine line.
I remember my buddy who was like hardcore into the Jewish religion, and he was studying to become a rabbi and stuff. Like he was the most Jewish guy I've ever known. And then one day we were just chatting about something, and he was like, "Wait, did you say your mom's Jewish?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, technically, like her parents were Jewish, so I guess she's Jewish." And he's like, "That means you're Jewish." I was like, "What?" Just blew my mind. Like nobody ever told that to me, not even my mom. And then I was ever since I've been able to kind of tell slightly racist jokes.
Nice.
Got a little chutzpah.
Yeah, exactly. I bought a book at a garage sale, and it was like 10 cents when I was a kid. It was the the great book of Jewish and Polish jokes. And that was like the only book. Yeah, that's the only comedy book I studied. So when I found out I was technically Jewish, I was like, oh, thank God. Because I just had so much material
in public.
I love it. Well, I guess it's about time for our segment. Geordie asks dry questions.
Don't tell me what to do.
Usually when we notice that things are going really well in the conversation, Geordie likes to try and suck the life out of the room. Awesome. A really dry question. So go for it, Geordie.
Yeah.
Mesas or buttes?
Don't know what either of those words mean.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Maces or buttes?
Yeah.
Like the weapon, a mace?
No.
The rapper?
MESAS. Mesa.
Oh, okay, like the amp?
Oh, no, Mesa Boogie. Those are great amps, though. They are. Love to be sponsored by them.
He's talking like geology here. Like a mesa is like a platform of rock.
Yeah, so you got like your big, huge plateau.
Yeah.
And then a mesa is a little smaller one.
Okay.
And then a butte is an even smaller one that's more of like a pedestal.
Okay.
Thing.
Yeah.
So that's the question.
Oh, well, I'm definitely more of a buttesman.
I'm buttesman. That is sick. I like that.
Sick. I like
that. One in the butte, two in the
two in the mesa.
Two in the mesa. Or what's the other one?
Hull or oats?
Well, they're both in legal troubles with each other at the moment. So I'd say whoever loses that legal battle, I'm on their side.
Okay.
I can relate to being taken advantage of. Not by, well, actually, by pretty much everyone. But
shit.
No, I'm just kidding.
But not us, though. Right?
No.
Okay,
just,
we're good still.
More so just narcissist axis. Okay, but
of course. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad we cleared
that was the segment.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask, if you were to be put on the spot and to have to carve a new question from scratch with zero prep time, what would that question be? Go.
Pools or lakes?
That's actually a great question.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, you're okay with that one, James? All of a sudden.
Like Steve likes it, I guess I like it.
I mean,
He hates my question.
I mean, I guess I'd say pool. Like, if I don't have to own it, I would say pools, just because the water is usually just a bit more. You can hang out longer.
It's warmer.
Although lakes, you don't have to shower after necessarily, unless it's a putrid sort of petri dish of a lake, like
okay,
like close to a nuclear power plant or something.
Right.
So depends on the lake, I guess.
Of course.
And pool, you could mean like a group of people, like a pool of the population,
like a carpool.
A carpool, yeah.
Or what do you call those? Like a betting pool at work or something.
Yep.
You know, like
Yeah, and all those I choose pool. So
sweet. Okay.
Good question,
Cool.
Geordie.
And I'll ask you guys a question. What's the deal with Jerry Seinfeld?
Honestly, I was a big fan. The live on Broadway that he did, like his last stand-up thing.
Yeah.
I've watched that so many times, and I'm always in awe of the fact that I find someone really funny without being crass at all.
Yeah.
Like, usually I like offensive humor, but he doesn't. But I still am laughing my ass off the whole time, right? So
it's not blue comedy, as they say.
It's not Bill Burr, that's for sure.
Yeah. You know who else is the king of family-friendly comedy?
Huh?
Mr. William Cosby.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was, yeah.
And look how that turned out.
Wow.
Allegedly. No, shit.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to his defense here at all.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. Great question.
Yeah. Shit.
If I was put on the spot again, I would ask, what got you into, how did you know that you were going to be a musician one day? Like,
Oh,
when
I
you
didn't,
first clicked, like
I didn't
shit, I'm
think I
doing
was
this.
going to be. It was just sort of a hobby that kind of took over, like flesh eating disease, and just before I knew it, I was more diseased flesh than I was normal flesh. So yeah, I thought, because I was always into making things. Like I loved making inventions, and I loved like anything sort of building based, whether it was like wood or Lego or anything where you could build something. I just loved. And then my parents got a handy cam when I was 12, and then I made hundreds of videos just constantly. And so I would always recruit friends of mine from school, like even guys I barely even knew, and be like, let's go make a video after school every day. So
nice.
I was just really into that. And then I would always, the music thing was kind of like an afterthought. But then I did really like the community of music, because I didn't really have a community at school. And I felt like there was kind of like an alternative way of thinking that didn't exist in my immediate home zone with my family. They were just kind of, like I started to feel like there's got to be more people that are kind of weird, like I feel most of the time. And that the first community that kind of presented itself was the music scene. And then so I started being like, oh, okay, maybe I'll start some bands. And so I started bands, and then I really wanted to start playing shows. But I wasn't really getting asked to. So I started putting on punk shows, and I would do like sometimes like up to like 3 a month kind of thing. Wow. And then I would get like my favorite bands to come from out of town. And I would just make whatever band I was in at the time the opening band.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And then I just sort of did that enough times that it was like Hot at Heat was the first band where people like said, oh man, like I heard your demo and I freaked out. Whereas every other band I was in, I felt like, nobody gave a crap about, and then for whatever reason, of the 4 bands I was in at that point, while also, pursuing other hobbies, and I had like 4 jobs at once, and I was going to school, and I was just kind of all over the place. And Hot at Heat was just like one of many things I was doing. But that was the first time I felt like the world said, hey, like we could use more of this. Yeah. Whereas everything else in my life felt like nobody was dying to have me do more of whatever those other things were. So I kind of put everything on pause just to see where it would go. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to put everything on pause, like let's just see what happens if we stop going out, to parties. We don't go to the bar. We don't, we try and like work just the bare minimum that we have to work to pay rent. And let's just wake up, just drink tea. We would put the Beatles anthology, which is like a VHS cassette collection on our VCR, and we just have that going on repeat constantly. We just drink tea. And I just set the rule, we have to send 20 emails a day. And this was like 2001 maybe. And like so then we had to work to find people to email, and then we had to like work to figure out what to email them about. Right. And then that under that umbrella came like me being like, well, I guess we need demos. So I learned how to record demos, and then I guess we need photos. So I learned that. And then I guess we need a website. So I learned how to do a website, and I had all this time because I had kind of set those parameters of like not going to party, only going to work the bare minimum that I need to have just enough to pay the rent. And then we would just basically just eat spaghetti with like basic ragu, and just like orange pico tea like 1,000 tea bags for like $1 kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And just so just so broke, but it gave us all this time to just focus on what happens if we set a goal. Like, let's see what happens. And it wasn't that hard to see momentum, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And then I got addicted to the momentum. And so I never even, once I saw momentum, I didn't really question, like, is this building something that I even want to do? I don't know. It was like the first thing I had ever applied myself to consistently.
Right. Yeah.
And then before I knew it, I was in a position where it's like, well, you'd be dumb to not pursue this.
Right.
And then it just sort of gobbled up like years of my life. But so when the momentum of the band kind of slowed down, I all of a sudden was like, oh, okay, now this gives me time to explore all these other curiosities that have been on pause. And I've kind of been doing that since. And I get a lot of like, why don't you still do like the thing that we know you can do, you know? And it's like, yeah, but there's all these other things that you may never know about, but those things provide me like immense fulfillment. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
But having said that, I suck.
No.
No, I do still struggle with mic placement.
Oh, me too.
I do still struggle with like imposter syndrome, self-doubt, never having enough time.
Oh, you really got a reef on that. Unless it's just
and like just a constant sense of, oh, I should be doing this, oh, I should be doing that. Like it's I have to work at being present and just enjoying the moment, because there's always a million things I feel like I should be doing, but I think that's also, we live in a society, fuck society, man.
Yeah, man.
That like really like yeah, it's like it's hard to live a normal life in the current economy. Middle class has been wiped out. It's just rich and the poor, and we're all trying to appear middle class, but it's a stressful time.
Yeah.
And
I don't even own any underwear.
oh, okay.
That's how poor I am.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get I knew that from the first second
I make
I laid
my own.
eyes. Oh, do you?
Out of thatch.
Oh, nice. I thought you were gonna say
Very comfortable.
you collected expired edible underwears from old sex shops that have been shutting down.
And I sew them together
Yeah.
to make a full one. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Did he know?
Very insightful you are.
Adidas all day. I dream about sex.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not true, actually. I find that the more you can lower your libido's priority in your life, the more time you have to edit dumb videos.
Yeah. I'm learning that.
Yeah.
This was
You're
good.
learning that the soft way.
Yeah. Shit. Yes.
Good.
There you go.
That medication's great. Well, I guess we'll have to call it at some point, eh?
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Steve, for being here.
Oh, man. Thank you for being such cozy, warm souls and not being D-bag hunks and just making me feel safe to say a bunch of stuff I'm sure I'll regret later.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
That's sick. No, it's been a real experience for us here. Yeah.
Huge.
This is
Oh, man.
definitely.
I want to do stuff now.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Wicked.
Like, I don't want to just...
That makes me that actually
my
makes
head
me
over.
really happy to hear. Yeah.
It's inspiring. You are inspiring to me. So
Thanks, my man.
Yeah.
Well,
don't mean to make it weird. Don't make
No.
it freaking weird now. Okay?
No.
Just take the compliment.
I'm not interpreting it as a sexual thing.
No, not at all.
Like, I just want to do stuff now.
I just want to do stuff to you with this little pillow.
No, but I find myself reaching for things that my brain is like, oh, I would get a dopamine hit from that, just, any sort of activity. But if you can like figure out how many sort of dopamine hits you can get from activities that kind of will eventually stack up on top of each other. As a kid, I was always like, man, when I'm an adult, I'm going to play so many video games. I'm only going to eat bacon. But I've tricked my brain into getting similar sort of dopamine boosts from things that are somewhat productive, or at least on the tree of it's like, well, I just made this dumb video that I'm just going to send to my in-laws that took me 2 hours, but I did learn how to do this and that, and that might apply to, a music video or something that can be tied to my career somehow.
Yeah. That's a great analogy. Exactly. The tree.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
we should do a ceremonial thing.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
Talking about trees.
Because this is a special day for us too, I mean, all of our guests are special, of course, but I thought it would be cool to have you do something while you're here.
Sure.
Sure. So I was wondering if you would like to do the ceremonial placing of the ivy. We have one little piece of ivy on the mic stand there.
Yes.
And I was hoping you could find a spot somewhere to place that ivy.
That is awesome.
Whoever comes through here, I could be like, look, Steve Bays put that piece of ivy right there. You know what I mean?
Oh man. Without giving it any thought.
Anywhere.
I mean, would it be crazy to somehow secure it to the stand?
You
or would
could.
That be really inconvenient? Because
I mean, you could,
right.
and it'll just always stay there. Yeah.
Considering we're going to be
never
getting
move.
rid of that stand at some point.
No, it's still good. It's still good.
Or maybe
These mics are just really heavy.
Oh my God, I'm freaking out.
Anywhere.
Maybe. I mean,
we should be wearing some kind of headdresses for this or something,
or at least a dress.
Or at least a dress. Yeah.
How many
some
times would you
curvature.
say you've dressed up in full drag in your life?
Me?
Geordie.
Full dress. Oh, sorry. Yes, for Geordie, of course.
Never.
And then how many times have you lied about that?
Never.
Just kidding. Okay, cool. Well,
Listen, sweetie, I'm not
Actually,
like that, okay?
I actually think this is kind of cool. I probably would have talked more if this was here before. Which
Oh shit.
Well, good to know now.
Probably
that's a good thing.
My bad.
just this kind of just makes me feel just loose and carefree and
Perfect. We should
a
have
bit more sensual.
We should have put a lay on you before when you came in too, or something.
And then I could say, I got laid in the poet's garden.
Yeah.
Like, lordy.
Look who's Geordie. Yeah.
There you go.
And your shirt could be, shoot. Okay, James.
It's a boring name, I know.
I don't know. Jamming hard with Soft James.
Oh yes. Oh, so accurate. I love it.
That's good.
It's
Excellent.
Not quite as good.
No, I
Okay,
like
on
it. I
that
like it.
medium note.
On that note.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you, Steve.
in, man.
That was amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
And to all the listeners at home, I just want to make sure that everyone, without fail, always remembers that the most important thing you can do in life is to make sure that always.
That's amazing.
Oh, we're gonna need some.
The one thing that's changed my life, but I only say it once.
We're gonna need some compression on that. Oh shit.
That's amazing.
Oh, and check out stevebays.com to check out for when Steve releases his new solo music.
Later.
Yeah. The Poets Garden podcast is produced and recorded by me, James Donnelly, at the Poets Garden studio in Mission, BC. You can subscribe and rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and almost everywhere else. You can also find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. To avoid potential legal action, the Poets Garden podcast is not sponsored by the Penny Coffee Shop yet. So next time you're in Mission, stop by the Penny for a coffee or a gluten-free brownie and say you heard about them on the Poets Garden podcast. Thank you for listening.